Hey, welcome back. So, Gen V just went nuts. In episode 5, Marie didn't just bend blood, she pulled Annabeth back from the edge. That's basically crossing the line between life and death. If she can do that, what does episode 6 look like? Who tries to control her? Who's terrified of her? And how far can this power really go? Let's break it down. Quick, no fluff. Just the smartest bets for what happens next. Let's start with Cypher because his endgame is one of the biggest mysteries hanging over this season. At first, he seemed like just another Vault administrator, the new dean at Godolkin who stepped into control after everything went off the rails. But then we learned what he can really do. Cypher has the ability to completely control someone else's mind and body. He can literally take over a person and use them like a puppet. We saw it with Jordan, and since then he's been constantly maneuvering Marie into situations where her powers get pushed further and further. But why is he doing this? The most logical explanation is that Cypher needs Marie's power for something bigger than just keeping the school in line. After episode 5, we saw Marie cross an unthinkable line. She brought her sister back from the dead. That means she's capable of full-scale biological resurrection. And if she can pull someone back from death, then she's suddenly the most valuable asset in the entire boys' universe. Cypher knows that, and it explains why he's been pressuring her, manipulating her, and putting her in impossible positions. He wants to unlock every bit of her potential because he needs it. And here's where the chamber comes in. In Cypher's home, we see a hyperbaric chamber with a man inside. The body is burned, scarred, basically clinging to life. Cypher calls him his father, but the show hasn't named him directly. This has sparked the most popular theory online right now, that the man in the chamber is Thomas Godolkin, the original founder of Godolkin University, the man tied to secret projects like Odessa back in the 1960s. The idea is that Godolkin isn't really dead. He's been preserved, waiting for someone powerful enough to restore him. And Cypher believes Marie is that someone. Her resurrection power could heal his father and bring him back, which would explain why Cypher is so fixated on her. Of course, the risk in all this is obvious. If Cypher forces Marie to cooperate, she could end up reviving someone who was never meant to come back, someone dangerous with old ties to Vault and its darkest experiments. That could change the balance of power completely, not just for Marie and her friends, but for the entire world outside of Godolkin. And remember, Marie herself is still only beginning to grasp what she can do. So putting her in the middle of this kind of resurrection scheme doesn't just endanger her, it could unleash something no one is ready to handle in episode 6. When we bring Vault into the picture, everything about Marie's new power gets 10 times more dangerous. They see her as a potential breakthrough. To a corporation like Vault, it's the holy grail. Imagine what it means if you could offer immortality to the rich, or heal any soup Vault wants to keep on top. That's billions of dollars, total control, and a permanent edge over every rival power. So from Vault's perspective, Marie is an asset they can't afford to let slip away. And this is where Sister Sage comes in. If you remember, Sage is a soup who doesn't have flashy powers like laser eyes or flight. She's got genius-level strategy. In The Boys, she was the one Homelander turned to for advice on how to manage Vault's empire. Now, in Gen V, we see her stepping in alongside Cypher, which means Vault's brain trust is already calculating how to use Marie. Sage doesn't waste moves. If she's aligning with Cypher, that suggests a coordinated plan to pressure Marie, test her limits, and figure out how controllable she really is. So the big question for episode 6 is, does Vault try to bring Marie into the fold, or do they try to control her from the outside? Recruitment would mean tempting her with promises, power, protection, maybe even the illusion of freedom. Control would mean putting her in a box, the same way they've done with every other soup who became too dangerous to manage. And if neither works, Vault has a history of eliminating problems before they spread. That's the scariest outcome. If Sage decides Marie's gift is too unpredictable, the next logical move might be to erase her completely. That's why Sage's presence is so important, because Vault doesn't just improvise. They're already running scenarios for every version of Marie's future, and episode 6 might be the moment where we see which path they decide to take. Now let's zoom out a bit. Think bigger universe, beyond just Godolkin and the students. Because Marie's new power has the potential to shake the boys' entire world. First, Marie versus Homelander. We've seen Homelander basically rule the skies, nearly untouchable. But what if Marie's resurrection biokinesis power reaches a point where she can rival him? Some analysts already argue that in her strongest form, Marie might be able to heal or resurrect someone even after mortal damage, making her a counterbalance to Homelander's dominance. That changes the game. Suddenly, she's not just a sup to worry about, she's a threat to the soup regime itself. Second, how this could affect The Boys Season 5. If Marie's powers continue scaling, she could be the one who solves or dramatically flips major plot lines in The Boys. For example, Billy Butcher is dying. That plot is ongoing in The Boys. And one theory among fans is that someone with resurrection ability might play a role in trying to save him. Or think even bigger. Marie's power could upend Vought's balance of power, meddle with mortal versus soup politics, or even shift alliances in The Boys. Third, crossovers and who might show up next. Already we've seen 2 big cameos. Starlight showed briefly, and Sister Sage is now deeply involved in Gen V. But when you deal with universe crossover expectations, you need to be careful. Lots of Episode 6 trailers on YouTube are fake edits. Don't claim those as proof. What we can reasonably expect is someone like Homelander, Black Noir, or Stormfront showing up in shadow or mention. Or Vought leadership figures like Stan Edgar could cross over into Gen V's storyline. The smartest guess is that a big face from The Boys might drop in right as Marie's power is tested. But since nothing solid is confirmed, frame it as possibility, not certainty. So in Episode 6, watch for lines or scenes that hint at Homelander taking notice of Marie, or Vought moving pieces across both shows. Because one thing's clear, if Marie keeps evolving, the barrier between Gen V and The Boys is going to blur even more. So to wrap it up, we've got huge threads hanging in the air right now. Cypher's chamber raises the question of who that burned figure really is, and whether Marie's resurrection ability is the key to bringing him back. And then there's Vought, with Sister Sage already pulling strings, deciding if Marie will be recruited, controlled, or erased altogether. The real question is this: is Marie the key to reshaping the entire Boys universe? Her power doesn't just affect Godolkin, it could change the balance of everything we've seen in The Boys. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed breaking this down with me, don't forget to hit like. Drop a comment with your own theories and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.